Hi everyone, I'm Haley and welcome to Knit to the Point. Here on this channel, we talk about all things knitting as I share my journey as a beginner knitter. I've only been knitting for a little less than a year. I have been crocheting for about 12 years, so that does give me a little bit of insight on pattern reading, things like that. But for today's video, I wanted to share with you a couple of finished objects, a couple current whips, and also one project that I have planned to do. This is going to be my project after I finish my stuff I need to for the holidays, for Christmas time. So, since I saw you last, I had quite a few gift knits planned. Um, those plans did not go as well as I hoped. Um, I think so. What I'll be sharing with you today, I only have two gift knits that ended up coming to fruition that I'll actually be giving away, and they're both for the same person. They're both for my aunt. I would tell her not to watch this video, but I really don't think she will be because she does not enjoy knitting, and this would be however long of torture for her. So it's not her thing. So I know I don't have to worry about her watching this and seeing her gifts be spoiled. So I guess I will go ahead and start with some finished objects. So I'm actually going to start with I also had one other gift knit that I did actually finish that I had started and showed you in the last video, and I finished it. I actually went ahead and gave it to my cousin. This is the Weasley sweater that I knitted for my cousin's baby. Well, I guess she's more of a toddler now, but yeah, I don't have the sweater with me, but I do have pictures that I'll insert right now for you to see on screen. And yeah, I think this sweater turned out amazing. My cousin really liked it. I really liked the way the colors came out and everything. I think that real goldeny yellow came out really nicely with that deep red color, which I was really hoping for. Sorry, I just hit the mic. Sorry. The audio was not good just now, but um for those of you who did watch my last podcast, I did mention that I did not follow an actual pattern for a Weasley sweater for this. What I did was I followed oh gosh. Oh my gosh, I followed a blog post. Let's see if I can pull it up really quickly. I followed a blog post that explains how to knit a Weasley sweater. Um, and I'm gonna try to get to that real quick. I followed a blog post for the sweater and just kind of that gave me how to kind of put this together, by Needles and Life. That's whose blog post I followed. And then for the sweater itself, I used the Good Old Raglan pattern by Karen O'Hanlon Court. It's a free pattern. It was really easy to follow and everything, and I think the construction of it came out really amazing. I'm really happy with it. And yeah, I think the yarn that I used for this is the Uptown Worsted yarn by Universal. I don't believe I have any more of that yarn to show you. I don't have it with me, but also I'm pretty sure I finished it. If anything, I have maybe a very small scrappy amount. Which I used two skeins of the Uptown Worsted pretty much in the color Beet. And this is, as the name suggests, a worsted weight yarn. In 200 grams, you get, let's see what you get. In 200 grams, you get Sorry, I'm clicking around on my iPad to find all the information that I need. I'm trying to do it a little different today. Okay, in a 100-gram skein, you get 180 yards. I'm not sure how many meters that is. I did not write it down. So yeah, it's a very like uh thick plush yarn. It gives really great stitch definition. I really loved working with it. It's an 100% anti-pilling acrylic because I did not want to do a wool for a baby unless I was going to do a superwash, but still I thought acrylic would be better, and it just had a better price range. I think this yarn at my local yarn store was about $8 per skein. It was either 8 or 12. I can't. No, I think it was $8 per skein. So pretty affordable for like a nice acrylic, I think. Well, I guess yeah, if you're gonna go to it's definitely more expensive than if you were to go to like a Michaels or something, but also it was like I cannot stress enough how nice of an acrylic it was. It was very soft, very like even when you touched it, you could kind of tell this is not gonna break down super easily. Like this is much more than you're gonna get with like your standard like Red Heart Super Saver or something like that. You know, not anything against those yarns. I think acrylic, like affordable acrylic yarn is a great place to start when you're starting some sort of fiber art. I think it's wonderful. But I did want something a little softer because those tend to be a little more scratchy. And since this was for a child, this yarn really great. If you're looking for a great acrylic, I highly recommend. I'll have it linked below. Um, But yeah, the sweater itself, really easy to follow the pattern. I don't believe I made any adjustments. I think a lot of it you do to like to size. So basically you're instead of doing it to a certain row count, you're doing it to a length. So yeah, it was really easy to follow. I think I ended up using um uh I think I did end up using the 4 mm. No, maybe I did adjust the pattern based on. Sorry, I'm all over the place in this podcast, apparently. Um, Now I'm wondering if I did actually adjust for needle size. Of course, I didn't write it down. Um, as far as I know, I used 4 mm and 4.5 mm, but I believe that's what it calls for in the pattern, but I don't really have that information anywhere. It does not exist. So, yeah. Oh, also, I forgot to go over what I'm wearing since I'm done. We're done talking about the Weasley sweater now. I'm wearing my Straya sweater that I talked about in my last podcast that I had finished for that podcast. I really love this sweater. I've worn it quite a few times since filming last podcast. I wore it on Thanksgiving and then worn it a multitude of times since then. It's really great. It's really warm. It uses knitting for olive merino is what I chose to use, held double. So yeah, highly recommend that pattern and knitting for olive yarn. I mean, you really can't go wrong. So um, moving on to my next finished object, which I do actually have sitting next to me. Please ignore the fact this is not blocked yet, so it's a little wonky looking. It'll look better once it's blocked. So I knit the Crayon Balaclava for my aunt, and that pattern is by Mia Philish. I hope I'm saying that right. But it is also a free pattern. This is one of the patterns I talked about in my knit gifts plans last podcast. But this is how it turned out. I'm not going to put it on my head because I have curly hair and that will really not help my hair today. But it's just kind of like got a very small opening so that it actually comes up over the nose, which is what I wanted because I know she likes to have her nose covered because her face gets really cold, like all the time. She's just like, her temperature regulation is all over the place. I feel like she is like always like, she's never like moderate temperature. Like she's always hot or cold. But in the winter, like when she's driving around, her face tends to get really cold. So I thought this would be really great, and I am obsessed with the yarn I ended up choosing. I've been excited to use this yarn. I had gotten it. It's the Jubilee yarn. It's the Chunky Melody by Jubilee Yarn. I actually ordered it on Amazon. Hold on. Maybe if I cover my face. There we go. Yeah. As you can see, it's just really beautiful. It is a weight 5 bulky weight yarn, and it's 100 grams, and you get 104 meters, 114 yards, and it's a 70% wool, 30% acrylic blend. And this is the color Split Pea Carrot. It reminded me, like, I really wanted, because on my Pinterest board, I had like a lot of uh this kind of vibe in my fall wardrobe plans, as far as like knitted garments went. So I wanted something like this. So my plan was to actually make a sweater that kind of at the waist tapered off, didn't have ribbing, so that it would kind of roll, and the same thing for the sleeves, and the sleeves kind of also tapered out slightly, not like huge bell sleeves, but a slight taper at the end. That never happened. I had 8 balls of this in my stash. After this took, I think, 1.5 of these, but honestly, I had frogged a project, so I'm not sure exactly how much yarn went into this. It's between 1 and 1.5 balls of yarn. But yeah, I had originally planned it for that. Then I started knitting a vest for myself, but then I frogged that when I was like going through my abandoned whips that I had not touched in a while, so that I could repurpose it for something else. And this is what it went into, because this is like my aunt's surprise Christmas gift, because she asked me to knit her a pair of gloves, which I'm knitting now. But this was the one I wanted to surprise her with. So for this pattern, I actually did do a little bit shorter ribbing, because I didn't think she'd want super long ribbing going down. And then other than that, I don't think I made any alterations. I didn't gauge swatch for this pattern. I was being really lazy and I didn't feel like it. I was like, we're just gonna start and hope it goes well. So I knit the size 2. This pattern has 3 sizes. I knit the size 2. It is intended to fit with negative ease. I believe it says technically like 1 inch of negative ease. You kind of want a tight fit. So the first size is meant to be like a junior slash like slightly older child size, I guess. And then the second one's meant to be like an adult small, and then like an adult large, medium large, I guess, for the third size. So I knit her the second size, but this ended up coming out bigger than it was supposed to. But I tried it on when my hair had been braided. It was kind of straight. She has straight hair. It'll fit her, I'm pretty sure. We have, I think, similar size heads. If it's a little big, that I'm not too worried about. What I mainly wanted to make sure was like that it wasn't falling into her eyes or anything like that. But yeah, that's the finished Crayon Balaclava. I think it's gonna keep her really warm because it's very thick. It's like I think I said already, it's a bulky weight yarn, but I do still have to block this. I'm waiting to block this around the same time as the gloves. But it is now 3 days before Christmas, and I'm actually giving this to her Christmas Eve, I think. So yeah. So that's that. Which now I guess those are my 2 finished objects. So I guess that will bring me into my current whips, which I'll start off with the gloves that I had just mentioned that I'm knitting. So I am knitting the, let me see. I'm knitting the Nesting Fingers Mittens by Drops Design. So I'm knitting these using the Color Burst yarn by Universal Yarn. It is a, oh gosh, let's see. I keep having to like flip back to like my stash and stuff. Um, it is a 65% super washed fine merino and 35% acrylic. It's super amazing. This is what the one glove looks like. It's super amazing for gloves because it's like, I think it's like almost like a one ply yarn, honestly. Yeah, I think it's a one ply yarn, to be honest. It's very fluffy, like hence the name Color Burst. It is Color Burst. That makes me think of like Cloud Burst yarn. I don't know. It makes me think of just like real light and fluffy. But I use the color Romance. Yeah, Romance, which it basically it comes in 200 grams like balls, which it's a really gorgeous colorway, as you can see. Like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I didn't even get to like the like rosy colors, like, but I know she's gonna love this because she was talking about maybe doing something that's like rainbow, and but also her favorite color is pink. So I knew if I did like a variegated yarn like this in like pinky colors that it'd be really amazing. um And yeah, I think it's turning out really well. It does, to me, it looks kind of funky at the fingers because it has you do like one by one rib on the 4 fingers across and then not on the thumb, but that's what it looks like on me. And I think she's really gonna like them. The Nesting Fingers pattern also has a flap that goes over. I don't think I'm gonna do that because I just don't see her using the flap very often. Because she asked me for gloves where her index finger would be free for her to go on her phone when she's driving. And so I think these are just going to be more useful for her. I did shorten, it calls for 3.5-inch ribbing at the cuff. I didn't think she'd want anything that long, so I shortened it so that it's just kind of like a covers your wrist but not too far onto your arm, if that makes sense. But yeah, they're really nice. I finished the first glove, weaved in all the ends and everything. It just has to be blocked, which I don't have any like glove blockers, so I'm gonna have to just use my wool wash and then put it on the blocking board. And then this is what I've gotten on the second glove. They work up pretty fast. Actually, I started the Nesting Finger Mittens. I started them on the 18th. So I've been working on them for 4 days and I finished one glove. Like, I think, yeah, honestly, you can probably finish one glove in it. You could probably finish both in a day if you really wanted to. If you were like having a knit heavy day. Really nice pattern. I think, did I say it's by Drops Design? I hope I did. Yeah, it's by Drops Design if I didn't say that. But it's knit on, it's, this yarn's DK weight, which it calls for a DK weight yarn in the pattern. It obviously, I think it called for when it drops DK weight yarns. I don't remember which one, but it uses, so the like the actual like hand part of the glove uses 3.5 millimeter needles, and same for the thumb, but all the ribbing uses 3 millimeter needles, which I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of it wrong, but I don't know if I usually knit DK weight yarns on 3.5 millimeter needle. Maybe I do. I don't know. But I will say for this yarn, if you don't like a yarn that's not tightly spun, or you don't like a yarn with a lot of variation and it's like spinning, because let's see if you can even see it. I think you can kind of tell. Some parts are like spun much tighter than the others, and yeah, so this is one ply. Yeah. But to me, it really doesn't bother me, and I think it makes it knit up super fluffy and very lush and just really nice. Really nice. So, yeah, sorry, I'm putting it out of the way so I can get to my last work in progress. Ooh, hair in my mouth. I hope my hair is not covering the mic this whole time. Um, yeah, so I guess that's it for the nesting fingers mittens. I probably won't have the mittens themselves to show next podcast when they're finished because I'm gonna probably finish them today. But I will take pictures so that I can show them in next podcast, kind of like I did for the Weasley Sweater this time. So, yeah, so moving on to my next project. If you remember from last time, I was working on the Moby sweater by Petite Knit. My goal was to finish this by Christmas Day so that I could wear it, but it's the 22nd, and I'm starting to realize that was a very lofty, ambitious goal because I started it November 15th, and it's a very intense pattern for a beginner knitter, I will say. Plus, I have like my hands get very sore, and I try to take breaks and try not to overwork my hands so that I cause permanent damage or injury to them. But this is how far I've gotten on the sweater. So I've joined in the round for the body. So I finished the front and back yoke. But it's looking really amazing, I will say. I really love this pattern, but I did notice once I started working in the round on the body, it really was causing me to have a lot of hand pain. I don't know if it's because it's on such small, because it's on 4 millimeter needles, and I'm trying not to knit loose because I want very nice stitch definition. So yeah, it causes some hand pain, and I wasn't gonna force myself to work day and night and cause myself pain in my hands and be super tired just to get it done for Christmas. So I ended up getting a cable knit sweater to wear for Christmas Day, because I didn't want to wear this, and I do have one other sweater that I've knit, but I've worn that a lot, and I wanted something, I don't know, different for Christmas. So sadly, I will not be wearing this on Christmas Day. But my birthday's in January, and we always like go out for a nice dinner whenever it's one of our birthdays, like in my family. So I think I'm gonna try to finish this by January 8th so I can wear it to my birthday dinner. I'm turning 23, by the way. So yeah, I think it'd be pretty fun. Yeah, it's looking really good. I did over here, you can see I started one of the sleeves. These needles are just like cheap bamboo needles that I got off Amazon for 16 inch. Because I don't have I mentioned last time I like to use my Knit Picks interchangeable needle set, but I have I think 5.5 inch ones. But I have the longer ones. I don't have the short interchangeable needle set. But yeah, so for now I'm using that whenever I want to do like 16, like I need 16-inch circular needles, or I'll sometimes do magic loop depending on what I want to do. I just use the 16-inch circulars. But yeah, this pattern's really great though. I mean, you can't go wrong with a petite knit pattern, really. I am knitting, so I measurement wise would have fit the 3X, but when I knit my gauge swatch, and I think I kind of talked about this in the last podcast, when I knit my gauge swatch, I was a little under gauge, and instead of going up a needle size and risking messing up my stitch definition, because I really wanted very nice tight stitch definition for this pattern, I and yeah, anyways, instead of messing up that, I decided to go up. I'm knitting the 4X. So, yeah, I think it's gonna fit fine. Because this is also before blocking, and like it's gotta. That obviously wasn't a good demonstration of how it'll stretch out, but all this will be kind of opened up and like stretched out lengthwise a little more. But yeah. Oh, and for this project, I am knitting this using another Cascade. Did I talk about Cascade yarn? I swear I did. For something else. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm imagining that. Anyways, I've used Cascade yarn for other projects before. This one, I talked about this last time, but I'm using the Cascade 220 Heathers in the color Pumpkin Spice. This comes in 100 gram skeins for, you get 220 yards and 100 grams. And it's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. I've also used their 100% Peruvian Highland wool in their undyed yarn for another sweater that I have that I really love. I will say that one has pilled really badly, which I don't know if this one will or not. That one's also knit on a very loose gauge. That's a whole nother story for another time. And it's also undyed, and it was spun much looser than this. So I don't know. I don't know if this will pill. I hope not. Like, obviously, I think as knitters, crocheters, fiber artists, whatever, you kind of, after a while, certain things are going to pill, and that's just a part of life. You just get a fabric shaver and you deal with it. So, yeah, I have tried to fabric shave my other sweater that I was talking about, but the fabric shaver I got from my aunt, and it's really not that good. And it would take like a year to fabric shave it. So, yeah, I have to get a different fabric shaver before I do that again. But yeah, that's it for my current whips. Oh, well, okay. I remember I did show last time I was working on a scarf. I literally did not get anything done on that, but I'm also not, that's for my friend, and I'm probably not going to see my friend till after the holidays, at some point, hopefully soon, but not till after the holidays. So, yeah, that is on the back burner, but it still is in progress, but it has not been worked on. I had too much going on. So, now I will get into the last thing for today, which is a project that I plan on getting on the needles after I finish these gloves. I might go ahead and start on this. That way I can knit on this whenever I feel like I need a break for a couple days from the Moby sweater, like I said, because of my hands. Because this is a cardigan that is knit in blocks. So my plan is to knit the heirloom quilt cardigan. I already have all my yarn for it. Uh, this pattern's by Katrin Seeberger. I believe Young Folk Knits talked about this pattern on her podcast, and that's where I heard about it. I think she had a video about, I think it was one of her videos for like, maybe it might have been for plus size knitting patterns or something. Don't quote me on that. I'm not positive if that's true or not. But yeah, I'm planning on knitting this. I'm in love with this pattern. I'll insert a picture somewhere, maybe like right here, of what it looks like. It's it's amazing. The colors, I'm doing a little bit different colors, but kind of similar to what's in the pattern. I will go grab. Oh, hold on. Show you each of the yarns that are going to go into my cardigan. So I think the pattern even calls for, let's see what yarn it calls for. Wait a minute. Okay. one second. Yeah, it calls for Hello Stella Tweed Merino fingering held double, I think. Yeah, held double. Um, for the pattern. So I'm using a DK weight yarn, but I am also using Tweed. So I'm going to use the Universal Yarn Deluxe DK Tweed Superwash. So I guess yeah, I can machine wash this cardigan, which is awesome. It's 90% superwash wool and 7% acrylic and then 3% viscose. So in one ball of this, so this is one of the colors. In one ball, you get, okay, let's see, where is it? I always struggle so much to find the information that I need when I need it. Oh, in a 100-gram ball, you get 284 yards. So I'm pretty sure I did the math and checked that. Yeah, so the yarn that it calls for in the pattern is 400 yards per 100 grams. And obviously, the pattern designer was holding that double. So I think total yarn estimates for the size that I need would be three, no, 750 grams and 3,000 yards. So I think I did them. I have 8 balls of yarn, which would be 800 grams. And I think the yardage definitely meets that because don't ask me to do that math, but I did it and it works. So I was in the store with my calculator doing the math. But yeah, this yarn at my local yarn store was $13 a ball, which I mean, pretty affordable price point, I think. It kind of is on the same like price point as the sorry, hold on. As the Cascade yarns, a lot of those. So yeah, it feels very nice. My hands are kind of dry right now, so it's not the nicest against that. But yeah, it's so I'll go ahead and get into my 4 colors. So this is one of my colors. This is color 420 Camel. It's very nice. It's got, you can see, little flecks of like black, white, kind of, yeah, maybe some of the tan that's in the actual, like brownish tan that's in the actual yarn. So that's the first one. And then this one, this is probably one of my favorites. This and one of the other ones is probably my favorites because I love colors like this. This is the color 405 Pine. And this is just, oh, so lovely. Again, black, white, and even some brown and yellow speckles, it looks like yellow, like ochre kind of speckles. But again, just, oh, wait, okay. And now we'll hold both of them together. Like, already, yes, thank you. Yes, it's gorgeous. And then we have, of course, I pulled out the ball that has a little bit of, it's a little messy, but it'll work. Oh, excuse me. Oh, and I touched the mic again. Sorry. This is the color 419 Merlot. And hold on. It's, oh my god, it's so, it literally matches my nails perfectly. So gorgeous. I love colors like this. And again, it kind of has the same kind of colors speckled throughout in the tweed bits. And then lastly, this is the last one. This is the color 410 Porcelain. So it's like a cream. Come on. Oh, yeah. So literally so gorgeous. So I'm going to try to get all 4 of these in the frame together. Like, you can't tell me that's not going to look so good for this. Like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have that. And I haven't even started yet, but I'm excited about it. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be really nice. I'm really excited to get started on it. Plus, I think it could end up being a decently easy project to transport around because you're knitting it up in blocks until you stitch together and work the sleeves, I think, from what I understand. So, really, you're going somewhere, you just take your two colors you're working on for that specific block and then bring that with you. And then whatever blocks you're working on, whatever colors you bring that day. But it's a little less bulky than like a whole sweater, because like my Moby sweater too right now is like something I can't really transport and work on. It's a at-home project, but I do have the gloves right now that I'm working on. I had started a pair of socks for my dad that I had talked about in the last video about starting, but I ended up not doing that for him for Christmas. But his birthday's coming up in March, so those make it, because I was knitting them too big anyways. So
Hi everyone, it's Haley. During the editing process, the audio actually cut out for the last couple minutes of the video, so I'm just filming this here real quick for an outro, and to also add one more thing, which is that I created a Pinterest account associated with this channel so that it's separate from my personal account, and I can actually share with you all the patterns and things that I find on there that I mentioned during my podcast episodes. It'll be organized by podcast episode. And yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I'll have it linked down below. And thank you all for watching. Have a good rest of your day and happy knitting. Bye.